Today, we are here with Mr. Thomas DeLauer, aka Mr. Mineral, to talk about why you might be mixed up about your mixed nuts.
Everyone tends to kind of group nuts together. They're just like, okay, healthy fats, cool, I can eat a lot of them, but there's a lot of calories, so I may not want to go overboard. I want to break them down into their respective little bad categories and good categories. What we've done is we've taken just like a standard plethora of mixed nuts, like something that you'll normally find at a grocery store. So let's start with cashews. Are you a fan of cashews?
I love them. I think they taste delicious.
Well, what if I told you they weren't even a nut? So they're actually a fruit technically. So they're the seed of what's called the cashew apple. And believe it or not,
wow.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is my own personal opinion, but they're probably one of the most inflammatory nuts that you can eat, or if you even want to call it a nut. They're actually a member of the poison ivy family.
Oh.
So you think about the response you get when you get poison ivy on your skin. You're getting that inflammatory response. Well, it's not like you're getting poison ivy on the inside of your body, but you're still having somewhat of an inflammatory response.
That makes sense.
So
wow.
If you're doing like an autoimmune paleo diet, it's called, like where you're really removing certain foods out of the diet and stuff like that, just to try to see what foods cause some triggers with inflammation. Cashews are one of the first ones that you should completely eliminate. One of the last ones you should reintroduce because they're so inflammatory.
All right, let's go on to almonds. Now, I actually have something interesting to say about almonds. At Jigsaw Health, we were wondering, everybody says almonds have a lot of magnesium in them, or they're a good source of magnesium if you're trying to get that through food. So we sent a bag of sprouted organic almonds in for testing to find out how much magnesium these things really do have. There's 71.1 milligrams per ounce of magnesium in almonds. But that's not really the interesting thing. We found out there's also calcium in almonds, and more calcium than there is magnesium. For example, there's 104 milligrams per ounce of calcium in almonds. So you're actually getting more calcium than magnesium when you eat almonds.
That's essentially almost canceling each other out because
right.
You have magnesium and calcium are usually competing against each other. So if you have more calcium, you have like a net positive of calcium. And then we've got macadamia nuts, all right? Macadamia nuts, I'm biased because—
I love these things.
Yeah, they're awesome. And for the sake of mechanical digestion, what I mean by mechanical digestion is how hard it literally is to break down. Like, mechanically, does it, does it grind up easily? Does it leave little chunks when you grind it up? They break down very, very easily, and there's no skin, so it's easy to digest. But you know what the main thing that I like most about these? They are an equal ratio of 1-to-1 of omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids. So you get a nice balance of like alpha-linoleic acid and your CLA. You get that nice equal balance so you're not having a spike in inflammation when you eat them that you typically get when you kind of overindulge on nuts in general.
Well, and almonds they're pretty inflammatory as nuts go,
Exactly.
Isn't that right?
Definitely.
Okay. So macadamia nuts, these things taste good and everything, so great snack choice. Moving on to pumpkin seeds. What do you think about these little devils?
They are devils. I call them zombie seeds. The reason I call them zombie seeds is simply because they are one of the only foods that gets more and more nutritious and nutrient dense as they age. So like even after the seed is picked and it's completely stored, after like 5-6 months, it can actually increase in protein value and it can increase in nutrient density. So they thrive when they're dead, just like zombies.
All right, moving on to pecans. What do we got with these guys?
I don't like them.
They taste good.
They do taste good.
In pecan pie.
Yeah, but they're like a 6-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. I will say the thing about them is like if you ever chew a pecan, you notice it turns into sort of a paste in your mouth rather than getting kind of gritty like almonds do. So much easier to digest in that sense. So
easier to break down.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and they make delicious pies.
They do. All right, and last but not least, these are some of my least favorite nuts, by the way. I just have to say.
I appreciate the candor.
Yeah. Brazil nuts, these guys, the things that everyone at a cocktail party is picking around, and you know that's true. So tell us about these.
They are extremely high in selenium, and selenium is a mineral that is very, very necessary, a trace mineral that's very necessary for thyroid function. You get your daily value of selenium in just a couple of Brazil nuts, which isn't saying much because they're the size of Texas anyway, but still, it's a good thing for your thyroid. As always, keep it locked in here with Jigsaw Health. See you soon.
See you soon. So I'm starving. Can we eat these now?
Sure, just be careful of the cashews.
I'll go with the macadamia.
Okay. We'll try them anyway. Live on the edge.
Yep.
Can I get a glass of water, please?
I can't watch that.